Yeah, I'll just get check 1, 2. Check. Check 1, 2. Steven, can you hear us? Check. Microphone check. Are we live?
I can't even hear you. Hey, what's up, guys?
There you go. Sounds good.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Looks
I
good.
got no audio, so. Just gonna fucking leave.
You hear us? Check 1, 2. Can't hear us? We can hear you. Steven. Ocho. Can you hear us? The most professional show, the most professional podcast in DFW, Fight Fit Lifestyle, coming to you live from Bimbo Slice's studio. We're here live with UFC fighter Steven Ocho Peterson, who is just lounging today, looking all fly in his shades, laying in a hammock. What's going down, Steven? I think he's frozen.
He's frozen. He's out. Are we even live?
I don't know.
I need a producer in my ear.
Yes, you are live. You've been
Oh,
live
right.
for
There we go.
2.5 minutes.
I don't think Steven can hear us.
Nope, something about his connection.
All right. Well, prepare yourself
For an entertaining
and somewhat informative.
hour of MMA Talk Radio. Did we?
Y'all guys.
Brought to you by
Man of Steel, what's up?
Joe Show.
Timbo Slice.
So y'all hear me all right?
Yep, hear you pretty good.
Pretty good. Pretty good. You got that new mic yet?
No, like I got people in my living room, so I decided to step outside and handle this.
Yeah, you look like you're chilling.
Yeah, it's a nice day. Hopefully it doesn't rain this weekend, huh?
It's supposed to at some point, but who knows if it starts raining on you now?
We'll see.
So, what's going on, fellas? Happy Friday. Getting this show going. Well, yeah, we're practicing a little. We're all doing the home studio stuff. So we got our new microphones and new cameras. Just if the audience is out there, if they can hear us, give us a thumbs up, comments.
Input on what they think and how to improve so we can get better at this shit.
Right. How do we improve the show? Steven, you can hear us pretty good though, right?
Yeah, I can hear y'all.
All right. Sounds good. So how is everybody's
I think
week?
we're gonna have to cover this, Joe. he's laying back on okay.
I might pass out on you guys. You got boring me to hell.
So let's get straight to it. Last weekend was last Saturday night, had the third UFC since we've all been on lockdown. It was a great week of fights. We had the Saturday night, Wednesday night, and then Saturday night again with the main event of Walt Harris and Alistair Overeem. We can start off with the pre-fights before the main event. So who'd we have that was throwing down over there that we knew?
That we knew would be Kevin Holland.
Oh, that's right. Kevin Trailblazer Holland.
He came out with a first round victory.
And Kevin looked really good in that fight.
Yeah, he looked really good. I mean,
I haven't seen him fight like that. Normally he goes in there and he tries to clown. He plays around, but in that fight he went out there and just murdered that guy.
he made some comment about that on his post-fight interview, and I forget exactly what he said, but he made a comment about that. He goes, "Yeah, I didn't have time to trash talk. I didn't get into it. It was over before he could start talking shit to everybody around him, and everyone would have heard him. So it would have been interesting. We would have all heard something different than just the crowd that time. So it would have been cool."
Yeah, for sure. I thought that's the Kevin Holland I wanted to see. because we knew how dynamic and badass Kevin Holland could fight. But in his last couple of fights in the UFC, I don't know if he's had one or two, it wasn't the most exciting fights. But this one was the Kevin Holland, the trailblazer that I wanted to see, using his reach, using his athleticism, and getting the job done. And man, he looked good. Congratulations, man.
He did. And actually, he was coming off I believe, a 2-fight losing streak. So good to see him get that victory then.
Yeah, buddy.
Word.
Yeah, did you guys see the damage fight?
Which one?
Darren Elkins against Nate the Train.
I don't know if I watched that.
The damage. He was all bloody in the fight, and this guy Nate.
Oh yeah.
Newer guy, and he starts clowning him, starts putting his hand behind his back, and talking all kinds of shit on his first UFC win. I don't know how I feel about that guy.
He's making a name for himself, and it's either you're going to love that or you're going to hate that shit. But yeah, he's standing there with his right behind his back and moving around like, okay, I got this, man. So a little cocky, but it was.
I would call it arrogant.
Say what?
I would call it arrogant.
Arrogant.
Little more than cocky. Yeah.
I'm going to call it entertaining because
Okay.
you do get tired of, or some people get tired of seeing that they go up, they might trash talk, they might do this, but they're going to bang it out and then nothing. And that's there's also a part that I love about that. It's just a fighter being a fighter, going out and doing what he says he's going to do and coming through with it. Now he comes out and he just wants to showboat and be cocky and be all this. So it does change it up a little bit from the other 10 to 12 fights that are on the card.
Yeah, it definitely set him apart, but I feel like you got to do a lot more than what he was doing. I mean, that was a really close fight. That could have gone either way. The only thing that won him that fight was the blood, in my opinion.
Man, I went to the beer store to get beer, and I come back, and I just see blood everywhere at the end of the fight. I was like, damn, what did I miss?
The canvas was just peppered, man.
Yeah.
It was everywhere.
So that was a good fight. Who else was on that card?
Well, first fight was rear naked choke. Then the women had an armbar.
Claudia Galadao and Angela Hill. Let's talk about that one for a second.
So that was a good fight. It could have went either way. I know Angela Hill was upset about that decision. Was it a split decision lost?
Yep.
Split decision, but Claudia looked good.
She got a little banged up, but she looked good in the. I mean, post fight, she looked like she absorbed some shots, but she also delivered plenty of them to get the victory.
And I know Angela Hill was upset that she left it to the judges, and she had, even on her Instagram or whatever, she posted a picture of her celebrating her victory, after the fight. But the judges called it for Claudia. I thought Claudia did enough to win the fight. She landed the harder shots, I thought, the more power shots. What do you think, Steven?
I thought that Claudia might have landed more shots, but Angela Hill was definitely more successful with the shots that she landed. She dropped her, and she did a lot of damage with the shots. It was more like Claudia was kind of like badgering her with the little shots, but that weren't doing much damage. And then when Angela would hit her, it would really do some damage.
Yeah, and Angela was, she'd already had 3 fights in the last 6 months or something like that. So she was definitely game, and she'd won 3 fights in a row. So she had some momentum going, and
that was her third fight in 2020.
Third fight in 2020. How does that even happen? We've been under quarantine for months. How did she get off so many fights? But
Look at it, January 25th, February 22nd.
So back to back, January and February, and then now this last weekend. A
Well, that's good for her. They're getting her out there and getting how many fights for her.
You know, that weight class, 115-pound weight class, and a female fighter like Angela Hill, she's going to be around a long time because she's only going to get better. I don't think they take near as much damage as the bigger fighters. Maybe I think from a power standpoint, there's not a lot of knockouts with punches. So I think they have a little bit longer career, and you know, they can fight more often.
That's an interesting perspective. How long does the average female fighter's career last versus the male fighter?
And what I'm talking about, even the smaller fighters themselves, even in a men's, if there was men's 115 or men's 108, like in boxing, those guys have really long careers. They have 150 fights, but maybe because there's not a lot of knockouts and, you know, lights out concussions. So I think maybe their careers will last a little longer. But you get into the large, you know, the larger women, the larger weight class. People like Holly Holmes that are fighting 145 against Amanda Nunes, who really has one punch, puts you to sleep, knockout power. I mean, that's going to shorten your career.
Yes. Yep.
But
Gotcha.
But only time will tell, you know, with the CTE testing and stuff like that. You know how it actually affects you know, the fighter in the long run. But it seems to me that the smaller fighters have a longer career.
I would agree with that. And with the female fighters, it doesn't seem like they've been around in the UFC to really get a good base on judge on how long their average career is.
Right. Because the UFC just hadn't been around long enough, and the female division hadn't been around. But I'm curious to see what's going to happen in 10, 15 years with these fighters like Holly Holmes and Kat Zingano, and you know, these female fighters, because you don't hear of women with CTE. You don't hear about that on the news yet. You hear about the NFL players. You hear about the boxers, right?
Yes, you do. And I'll give you probably the women's statement. The women are stronger than men. We fucking get killed all the time. We can handle this shit. We can take the pain more. We can deal with it better. That's what they're going to say on their opinion.
That's Timbo Slice's opinion.
Is that what you think, Tim?
We have to have a disclaimer for Timbo Slice now.
Yay.
What do you think, Ocho?
Well, women are just superior to men in every form and fashion. We know
That's
this.
the way.
That, I agree with you, sir.
Get on your knees, roll over on your back, and submit.
Dang. I don't know, man. You ever watch a Holly Holmes interview or video when she seems a little punch drunk. Sometimes in her video, I'm not sure.
And she's been fighting a long time.
She boxes. You know, she's been boxing a long time.
So when I say that with the careers, I'm thinking of UFC careers. But yeah, Holly's been out there and competing and banging with people for a long time.
Yes, she has.
So,
senor.
what was the most controversial fight of the night?
The most controversial fight of the night? I don't know. Probably that fight.
The Cheeto Rivera fight. Cheeto, I think Morales. Who did he fight? He fought Song Yadong. And Song Yadong.
Oh.
I thought Cheeto won, like, hands down. I mean, but
You're right.
I'm not a judge. He was very upset with that. And the other one was Danny Ige and
Barboza.
And Barbosa. And that one as well. I thought Barbosa won, but it was so close. You can't really can't say it was a robbery, but I guess Dana said that Barbosa won hands down. So Barbosa's expecting his win check because Dana said he won. But if Barbosa gets his win check, then I want all my win checks for when Dana and Sean said I won and I got robbed. So, you know, if they give him his win bonus, then they should give everybody that feels like they got robbed a win bonus as well.
Well,
And I can go on for 20 minutes on this one because I looked at that and listened to him I want my win bonus. I deserve this. I should get this. I'm like, what I learned is haters are going to hate, bitches are going to bitch, and UFC fighters are going to complain when it goes to split decision. and looking, and then they say, okay, we boxing judges. I looked up all three of those judges.
All right. Semi-informative.
Semi-informative. So all three judges scored the first round the same and the third round the same. It was only the second round that was in question. And the judge that
It was a split decision.
what's that?
It was a split decision. So, obviously it was a close fight.
Yes, it was a close, good fight. I mean, and it's how are you looking at that? I mean, so in the first rounds on all three judges to Barboza, third round on all three judges' cards was to Ige. So the second round was the one that was in question, and Barboza looked great in the last 30 seconds, but he took him down and laid down some ground and pound. So how does the judge look at that and gauge that? The judge that gave the fight to Barboza has 7 years experience judging MMA. The other two were 8 years and 13 years. So don't ever keep saying we got these boxing judges that don't know what they're doing. We have judges that have experience. It's the criteria that they have to judge on that is based off of boxing and not of MMA. And I think that's where their trouble comes in. If they could change that a little bit, and that's up to, I don't know if that's up to Dana or up to the athletic commissions themselves, but he's the only one that's going to push that.
As long as humans are judging something, there's going to be flawed. There's going to be.
No. We've gone over this before. We've gone over this whole thing before. It's subject to opinion. If you leave it subject to opinion, then people are going to have different opinions. But if you make it based off a specific score, look at wrestling. That's not an opinion. You get a fucking takedown, you get points. Jiu-jitsu, you pass the guard, you get points. You mount, you get points. Back mount, you get points. Taekwondo, you land a kick, you get points. You land a punch, you get points.
And Taekwondo, you land a kick to the leg, it's 1 point. You land a kick to the head, it's 3. If you're off the ground, it's 4 points. They have a lot of
different martial arts. It doesn't make sense that we're using a 10-point must system when it's mixed martial arts. Use all the martial arts scoring systems and add it all together. Then at the end of the fight, you got a score that's like 100 to 90 or something, along those lines, rather than a 10-point must system.
I completely agree with you, man. They need to change how they judge. It's not throwing bitches about the judge. It's not the judges. I mean, they've been around. They've been doing this for a while. It's their system that they're required to use.
Yeah.
Take the opinions out of it. Make it based off tangible points. If you hit somebody and it causes a lot of damage, then that might be a 3-point strike. Or if you just tap somebody with the jab, that's a 1-point strike. Come up with some sort of scoring criteria that makes sense and that falls in line with all the other martial arts. Every single martial arts from Taekwondo to wrestling to Jiu-Jitsu, they all have a point system. And if you just put those point systems together, then you have a real criteria that we can be scored upon.
Yeah, that definitely needs to.
So who do you think is the one that can put that change in and get it rolling, get it moving down the hill? Is that Dana White? Is that the commissions from state to state?
The UFC has the power to make it happen, and they're probably the only ones that can, because the boxing commission or the athletic commission, they're going to hold on to the power. They're not just going to hand it over,
Well, you think will the UFC have enough power to create their own judging system to get past the athletic commission?
They're the ones that I think that need to present it to them, to the commission, and the commission then can choose to adopt it. I mean, they've already gone through different rule changes a little while ago. With the 3-point stance, and you always hear at the beginning of the fight. They've implemented the new rules, so they have it. So I think it's up to, in my opinion, it's up to UFC to say, I would like to see them judge based on X, Y, and Z and points, like you were just saying, Ocho. And then the commission can look at it and say, from state to state, say, yeah, that's a good idea, let's implement it.
Yeah, because even the commentators commented like the judges got it wrong 3 times tonight. One of the commentators even said that. So we're not the only ones thinking it. We're not, the UFC sees it, Dana White sees it, the athletic commission knows about it. So they've got to have something in the works.
You know what? And you're right that they did all say that. Dana came out right away and said, yeah, Barboza won the fight. What I'd like to see then, as a side note, of Dana to sit there and score it just like the judges are, so we can look back and say, how did Dana score this round versus the judges? How did he score round 2 versus the judge? How did we put the overall fight? I mean, he can sit there and complain about it later, but if he's not judging every round in the moment, it's like you told me, Ocho. It's like when I said something about, so and so landed more punches in the fight than this person, but you're like, well, how many landed in this round? He might have landed a shit ton in the second round and nothing in the first and third. So he didn't win the first, or he didn't win the third.
Yeah, and when you have somebody's opinion involved, they can get totally fucked up in the first round, just be bleeding all over the place, and then totally dominate the second and third. But you're looking at all the blood coming out of this guy's face, and you're like, oh yeah, he lost the fight, when it's supposed to be judged round by round, not as a whole. So, and there's no real reason for that either. Why is the fight judged round by round? Why isn't it a total score? Because, like I said, if you take in the martial arts scoring system, then it wouldn't be judged round by round. It'd be a total score after the third round of how many points they scored during the fight.
Well, they even get it wrong in boxing. I mean, it's not like it's just a UFC.
That's the point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's a 10-point plus system. It's a flawed system.
They get it wrong in ice skating. Anything that's based off.
Why do you adapt a 10-point must system when it's already flawed from the get-go? It's been flawed in boxing since the beginning of time. Why would we bring that to a new sport and expect it to be not controversial? It's a bad system in the first place. It doesn't make sense.
You're right. I think we're all on that same page with that one, and I think most of the fight fans are as well.
Yeah, get the boxing commission out of MMA. It's been corrupt from the start, and we need a MMA commission, a martial arts commission to oversee, because the boxing commission doesn't oversee jiu-jitsu and taekwondo and Kempo kickboxing. They don't oversee none of that. Why are they overseeing MMA?
Yeah, it almost seems like there should be a different judge for the ground skill judging, right? Like a judge that just counts the points for
have
the
a fucking
down.
point system on a counter, and then it's automatic. If they can tally our stats to a T, we have little chips that they put in the gloves half the time, and they tally our stats. Just put that into a system on the computer and have the computer score the fight.
Yeah. Well,
Take the opinions, the error out of it.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things is how long does it take to fix this thing? How many fights and how many upside down judging?
How many times we're going to hear that? Yeah, it was lopsided. It was wrong. It was a robbery. It's just until they change it.
And then when they change it, it's got to be better.
And that's where I think, can you implement that into some of the other fight leagues and Invicta, so you can see how it is. And I thought they tried to do something different with Invicta a while ago before lockdown, but it was a long time ago and I forget what it was.
I think it was the open scoring in between rounds.
Yes, that's what it was.
The audience sees the score, which, yes, but not with the 10-point must system. I should be able to look over and be like, oh, I just scored a point for that takedown. You know what I mean? I could see it. Like in a jiu-jitsu competition, I've done that. I'll pass somebody's guard and I'll look over and all right, ref, you going to give my points? Assure that the ref goes, yeah, you got your 4 points or whatever you get. And you see them tally up on the scoreboard. And that could be something that is definitely implemented into mixed martial arts as well.
Yeah,
I completely agree. That would be awesome to see.
yeah. Look up, know where you're standing. Know what they're watching.
Yeah, know where you're at, and that would make a more exciting fight because if you're behind, you're going to fight harder.
Yeah, because a lot of times you'll see the end of the third round. There's 20 seconds left. The guy who thinks he won is just dancing around and avoiding shots. And the coaches are like, "Hey, man, you better get here."
Actually, the announcer said that about Barboza at the end of the third round.
And he lost. The
He could
decision.
have this fight, so he looks like he's kind of just coasting right now. I'm like,
Yep.
why coast? If you're going to coast in the last 30 seconds of the third round,
You should be going.
Don't bitch about it later.
Yeah, you should be going for the finish. You shouldn't be dancing around, even though you think you won 3 rounds. Don't dance around the last 30 seconds of the fight because you don't know. You should still be going for that finish. I didn't buy that pay-per-view to watch you dance around because you think you won.
Don't forget, we're there to finish. We're not there to go to the judges' scorecards. That's not the goal. That never should be the goal. Some people, it is the goal in certain game plans, but I feel like when you're stepping in there, the goal is to take the guy out. That's what we sign up for. So if you're not doing that, then you're not really doing your job.
That is true. I mean, when you say they need to go in there and keep going and try and finish it, go back to the other fight last weekend of Matt Brown and Miguel Neza.
Yeah, man.
Matt Brown looked like he was dominating that fight. And then he came in too hard, too quick.
Knock the fuck out.
It was, yes. It was that left hook and then a couple of follow-ups and it was done.
A couple ground and pounds. Yeah, and that was done.
Yeah, but he was looking good. I'm like, okay, let's say that was the end of the third. He's still going into the finish. I think that was the second round. So he was winning. He was looking good. He's going in to finish it and got caught. So I understand where that's a little bit of a hindrance at times. If people have that in the back of their mind, I need to coast because I might get caught and then I'm going to be putting my back on the mat.
Man, it's become a habit. Even when you watch boxing today, it's not like watching boxing in the 90s or the late 80s. Even the boxers today, they dance around. They go the full 12 rounds. They're not out there like Mike Tyson used to be and going out there, or Evander Holyfield, George Foreman. They were going for the kill every round, 12 rounds, 15 rounds. Even in boxing, these guys are looking for the judges' scorecard. They're going in there. They're not trying to get hurt. They're not scrapping.
And that's
some of it. It's the fighters too.
Yeah.
It's not all blamed on the judges, but some of it's the fighters. Man, you got to go in there to finish. Steven, do you go in there to get the scorecard and get the points? Hell no.
Every time I go to the scorecards, I feel defeated, regardless, because I did. I'm trying to finish the fight the whole time the fight's going, and once it goes to the scorecards, it's like, oh fuck. Well, now I left it in somebody else's hands. It's out of my hands.
Yeah, and in those situations, you've come up on the short end, even on some fights that you deserve. You clearly got the victory on. So I've seen it. We've all seen it.
Yep. All over the place.
You see some guy running and avoiding the fight, and you see the other guy coming after him, trying to take him out. Who's the winner in that fight? The guy running away?
We see it all the time now. We see it all the time.
Yeah, you do see it all the time, and I think that should be more critically scored when a guy's not engaging and avoiding the fight rather than engaging in the fight. So, what'd you think about the Irwin Rivera fight? Forget what the guy's name he fought, but he fought on 48 hours notice.
Oh, that was good.
2 days. He was 48 hours notice.
He's too small for the weight class for one. Let's just say that. When he goes
He's
down
a 35er. I fought him at 135.
Right.
And he took a fight on 48 hours notice at 145. I thought he looked really good in that fight for 48 hours notice. He went all out in the first round, very explosive, and did what he could. He knew that he had to take this guy out early if he was going to have a chance, and he wasn't able to. And after that, he went all 3 rounds. He survived basically using his whole wad of energy in the first round. I I was pretty impressed with him in that fight.
Yeah, I was too, man. I'd like, he was fun to watch. He was the smaller fighter who was not in good shape. That other guy was a really good sized fighter, and man, he went for it every punch. When he's the one that was jumping over the leg kick.
He was jumping all over the place. I don't want to fucking fight that dude again. I already beat him. I'm not fighting him again.
Hell no.
That's just not an easy fight for anybody. And the way I see it, I got to win over him, so I'm just going to keep that. And there's no reason to fight him again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he did look very good for coming in on 48 hours notice. I mean, just think if he gets a full fight camp
at his weight class,
what he's going to look like. And
bantamweight 135.
Yeah, that's one of those guys that Dana loves to see, that comes in 48 hours and puts on a show like that. He'll have him back as soon as he can.
Yeah. Thinking about that Barboza fight again, and Barboza looked natural at that weight, but what he did not look as fast as he used to, right? He didn't keep the speed. He didn't look as fast as he normally did, is what I'm saying. Because everybody's that fast.
Yeah, you remember cut a bunch of weight?
Yeah.
Shit fucking sucks, and it takes that oomph and that speed out of you. Really, it just makes you more of a grinder. It'll take those quick twitch muscles that Barbosa's, that's his bread and butter. He's a explosive type fighter, and I think that took away from his skill set there.
Yeah. So I think if he can keep his weight down and stay at that weight class, I think he'll do good. So, but he's been fighting a long time.
I disagree.
You think he should go back up?
Weight class for him. I think he needs to go back up. He was in the top 15 for the longest at 155, and then he goes down to 145, thinking, I'm gonna, just jump right to the top, where he doesn't carry that speed advantage down to featherweight, and that was his. It was never his strength. It was never his size was never his advantage. It was the speed and the explosiveness. And if he doesn't carry that down to featherweight, then what's the point of going down a weight class? You're just suffering for no reason.
Do you think that was just something for him to try out and see how he would do with it, and he'll go back up then?
I think he was thinking he would jump into the big money, big fights, and since it didn't go his way, I think he'll end up going back up. Because now he's talking shit about the ranking system, because he was taken out of the lightweight top 15 rankings after this fight and all that. He said it's all a joke, but it's you lose a fight at featherweight, then you're going to lose your lightweight ranking. If he would have won that fight, then he would have stayed in the top 15 at lightweight, and then he'd probably be in the top 15 at featherweight as well.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It seemed like, what has he lost? Like 3 fights in a row?
Yeah, he's on a little skid here.
Yeah, because it looked at 155, man, these guys were kind of beating him up, and
he had no wrestling, and that's his downfall. Is if you're not going to work on your weak suit and get your wrestling better, you think you're just going to cut weight and then it'll all be all right. That's not the way to do it.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I know.
Of course he is. So when you talk about, you said something that I forget what the hell you said. It made me think of, the upcoming fight that's talking about now is Jones and Nagano. Now Jones is saying they don't want to. He's not going to get the money he wants, so he's not going to fight it. He goes, all right, I'll check out for a couple of years until you're ready to fight.
He's in a contract. He has a contract that has his next however many
That's
fights
out, so he's 100.
and the pay. He's not happy with that, but he shouldn't have signed a contract if you're not going to be happy with it, because you win a couple more fights. What does that contract no longer mean anything? No, yeah. It's on a tier-based system. You win a fight, it goes up a certain amount. So whether he's in an 8-fight contract or whatever it is, the pay's already been laid out when he signed the contract. So you can't go back and be all upset. This guy, I deserve more money for this fight or whatnot. It's not always based off the opponent. It's based off your contract, what you signed to fight. I could take a top 15 fight right now, and I'm still making the same amount of money that's on my contract. I don't get paid more just because I'm fighting a top 15 fighter.
Even if you change weight classes, even if you go up for a weight class, you don't get to you don't get to renegotiate.
I agree with Joe on that one. I understand what you're saying, Ocho, because how many wide receivers in the NFL or shortstops in baseball, they have this contract and they think, well, shit, I'm doing good. I'm going to hold out because I want more money. And they do it all the time on those sports. But now to see it, but I think you signed a contract to fight it this way and to perform here in the UFC, you need to honor that and put out those fights.
Yeah.
If you change weight class, like you're saying, Joe, then
Right.
it's different.
So yeah. So what if Dana White comes to you, Steven, and says, "Hey man, we want you to fight at 170 now." Would you be like 170? I want more fucking money.
35.
If he said, I want you to fight Conor McGregor at 170, I'd be like, done.
Same money for the same money.
Pay-per-view points. You get pay-per-view points. So
then
if John Jones was a bigger star, then he'd get more money. If he fought Ngannou, he would make more money on pay-per-view. He doesn't need to make more money on his purse per se. He would make money on the pay-per-views.
And first of all, I think Ngannou would knock his fucking head off.
Yeah.
I hope so.
I think we'd all like to see that one too.
I think Ngannou takes that fight no problem.
I hope so. But I want to see DC and Ngannou. That's the fight to make.
I listened to DC talk and commented on that one.
I don't think he wants to.
Like he's afraid of that one.
Yeah, I mean,
He called him out.
He called him out to sound tough because they were talking shit between commentary. But you got to think about it.
He said if Stipe, not during, later on, he said if Stipe doesn't want the rematch, then that would be his second choice is to fight Ngannou. And DC could definitely make Ngannou look terrible if he wrestled him.
Right.
We've seen Ngannou. We've seen, he's got some holes. He's not an incredible fighter. He's an incredible athlete.
Yes.
A scary person. Skill-wise, he's got many like downfalls. Yeah, he's very wide.
And you're right. I agree.
It'd be hard to even wrestle that dude, even if he doesn't know how to wrestle, because he's so explosive and so big. I've wrestled athletes that don't know how to wrestle, and it's not easy. You have to make them fuck up. You got to make them make a mistake. You got to be more savvy, not try to outwork somebody that's a much more elite athlete or freak athlete like Ngannou.
The thing, I agree that DC could definitely, if he can get past those big punches, get Ngannou on the ground and wrestle fuck him for 5 rounds. Is he going to be able to do this for 5 rounds? Is he going to be able to choke Ngannou out?
Yeah.
Before Ngannou knocks his head off and ends his life?
Yeah, because at the beginning of every round,
he's always dangerous.
He's probably dangerous from his back too. But
right, you don't want to get hit with one of them hammers coming
I can see DC getting the takedown and within 3 rounds submitting Ngannou on the ground. If that doesn't happen, Ngannou is going to knock his head off.
He's going to learn from Stipe that you start throwing those body shots at him. That's what took him out.
And Stipe's more Ngannou's size anyway. Stipe's already beat him once, which is real surprising. But Stipe's an excellent fighter. He's a great boxer, good kickboxer. He's got good wrestling skills. If Stipe and Ngannou fight again, I think Stipe gets it again.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
What about who was that main event?
What about the Walt Harris fight, Dan?
That's next week.
What about the Walt Harris fight?
Well,
I thought that was a terrible stoppage. I thought he was flattened out, getting hit, and not defending himself for so long. It just it looked bad. I was like, man, when are they going to stop this fight? He wasn't taking like super bad damage like Anthony Smith did, but it was like he was flattened out, and it was worse than the Anthony Smith stoppage in my opinion because He wasn't going anywhere. His hips were up in the air. He wasn't turning one way or another. He wasn't going anywhere. He was just eating shots, and the ref like waited until I think I counted like 30 or 40 punches before the ref finally stepped in.
You're right. Even Overeem looked over at the ref at one point, like, how many more times do you want me to hit him in his right ear?
He didn't want to hurt him. He's like, I don't want to hurt this guy.
You know, the thing is, man, everybody's pulling for Walt because of the story and the heartbreak that has been going on. I'm a fan of Overeem as well, but Walt Harris is the loss of his daughter. I mean, it was such an emotional, heart-wrenching fight on both ends. There was so much respect between Overeem and Walt, even before the fight. And Overeem didn't want to sit there and just beat his head in. But let me say this. Coming off of a situation like he did, and I mean, why do you fight Alistair Overeem? Alistair Overeem is the gatekeeper for that weight class, man. He should have came in and fought maybe someone maybe lower in the ranks is what I think.
But weren't they scheduled to fight a while ago before?
Yeah.
I think that was a bring back of that. But I think you're right. At your first fight back after going through such emotional times, it would have been
So short. I mean, this just happened.
You don't want a Cam, but you want
You don't want Alistair Overeem.
Yeah. Right.
Your comeback fight. And, you're not mentally healed. You're not you're training during a COVID-19 environment.
You're never gonna be healed from something like that. That's gonna fuck you up for life.
It will, but especially that close to it. Though. Maybe a year down the line, 2 years down the line, I mean, you get part of your focus
him
back.
Getting back in the cage was part of the
healing process.
And everyone's healing process and grieving process is different. I was sitting there after watching him laying on his belly, taking 30 shots. I'm like, is he really thinking about his daughter? What's going to motivate him right now? Or is he was already spent emotionally, physically with it, and he was just ready to didn't want to tap, but he wanted the ref to stop it.
He'd rather died in that cage than tap. I'm going to tell you that right now. Walt Harris is a warrior. He was never going to tap. He was never going to tap. He was never going to get up, get out of that. Yeah. And the dude's a legitimate badass. I mean, we're going to see good things out of Walt Harris coming out in the future.
I just want to see him work on those holes in his game, and I think especially a lot of the heavyweights, they have a major hole in the ground game, and when they're exposed like that, you have two choices: either deny it and run away from it, or you face your problem and you fix it. So I think he'll get better from that in the long run.
Yeah, he will. So that was good. That was pretty, and he almost won. Dude, he had Alistair Overeem hurt.
He had him hurt for a minute.
Dude, he almost won. He almost won that fight. He had him hurt. He just didn't get him finished. And Overeem is such a veteran. With how many fights does he have? Overeem's got 50 fights or something like that.
46 and 18.
46 and 18. I mean, he's Alistair Overeem. That's a tough. Like I said, he's the gatekeeper. Him and Andre Arlovsky are kind of the old school gatekeepers of that weight division. Like, you got to get past these two guys. You want to get up in the ranks. For real.
He froze on us.
He froze. So what's coming up?
What's coming up? Nothing this weekend, but the following weekend we got Tyron Woodley and Gilbert.
I froze.
Say what?
We got fights coming up next weekend on the 30th, and they will be out of the UFC Apex in Vegas. They haven't finalized the card, but they're adding fights daily, and I think they're up to like 8 fights on the card. And there's still some more in the works.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. It's Tyron Woodley, the main event.
Yes, Gilbert Burns.
I'm looking forward to see Tyron Woodley back in the cage, man. He's been gone a long time. After he lost his belt, he has not fought since. What has that been? Almost a year ago. It was end of last year when he lost his belt.
It was March of 2019. So
a little over a year ago.
Yeah. Yep.
So he lost his belt a little over a year ago. He's been chilling. No, he hadn't had a comeback fight, so this is his comeback fight. I'm looking forward to seeing how he does.
Yeah, I think he's on the ass end of his career, and I think he's got maybe one or two more left in him, and he needs to cash out while he can.
Yeah, because he could have a good career in commentating. He's pretty good on the microphone. He looks good on the mic. He could probably get into that. I've even seen him in some movies. You know, little bits and pieces of him in a movie. I've seen him in a couple movies already.
Really?
Yeah, just kind of off in the background as like a henchman. What was that movie? I saw him in a movie a while back. I was like, that's Tyrone Woodley. He's a henchman. So what are your plans, Mr. Ocho? When are you coming back, man?
For coming back, well, right now I'm working on these guns for the summer.
Oh, I
Trying to
see.
get them right. I'll say I kind of lost all my bicep power with this surgery, so I gotta get my strength back in my triceps and my biceps so that I don't re-injure it as soon as I come back. Because that's the whole idea. Is I want to stay healthy and be able to do this for more years. So, I'm not considering taking a fight yet until I would probably consider it maybe July. See how June treats me and strengthen this joint and this ligament, and then July hopefully be in a position where I can accept the fight and potentially get back in there as early as September or October.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And good news this week, gyms all open back up or had the opportunity to open back up. Not everyone did right now, but they can. You can start getting. Anybody that likes to get in the gym and work it out has that opportunity now, which is good to see.
Yeah, a lot of people are really upset about that. They're like, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing that. You're part of the problem." Blah blah blah. But I'm
Stay the
looking
fuck
at
at
those same
home.
people that are complaining and be like, "Karen, you're part of the problem. You understand? Shut your mouth."
Yeah, I actually taught a Muay Thai class this week. I had one student and two students on Zoom. So the jiu-jitsu class was going on. They were socially distancing while they were choking the shit out of each other. I'm like, what's that?
That's cool.
That's not really a social distancing when you got someone in a rear naked choke slobbering down their side of their face. So, yeah.
But it's there. It's there for people.
Yeah, we're not doing the whole.
Parents can stay at home. People that want to get out there and roll, get out there and roll.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what's going to happen? I know that when I went to the athletic center Monday or Tuesday, whenever they opened, I went on a Tuesday, and they were doing a hard shutdown at 1 o'clock. So literally, I got to work out for 20 minutes because they were closing and deep cleaning the gym at 1 o'clock till 2 o'clock. They're going to reopen. And I was talking to the gym manager, and the gym manager told me that they may be doing the city may be doing a hard shutdown again and closing everything again. And I was like, bullshit. So I was like, where did you hear that? But this was a city-ran athletic center, so they may have the insight. But I haven't seen the numbers that support the whole state of Texas being shut down. But if you ask a medical worker, they feel completely opposite in the way we feel. The frontline medical workers are like, you guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Y'all need to stay home.
But it's very different. So I had a frontline medical worker at my house Sunday night. ICU, I think Plano, somewhere around here.
Uh-huh.
I understand how they're not that busy. I mean, but I asked them all kinds of questions about, and I got good insight into why they do things a certain way, but it's really still his opinion, even though he works at the hospital, but it's from a medical background. In my opinion, I'm like, okay, I might value his opinion a little more than JoJo's
medical opinion.
Yes, exactly.
I'm only a doctor on this show, not in real life.
And that's only the last 5 minutes.
I only play a doctor on Fight Fit Lifestyle. So, what's it looking like in Dallas for you, my man? Is it still like crazy shutdown? Are there people at the grocery stores and the gyms? What? He quit. He left the show. So, It's me and Bimbo. But I'm gonna tell you around my neighborhood, man. It like the jogging trails, the grocery stores, everything's packed. I mean, like
It is.
I haven't seen anybody shut down anyways since the beginning of day one quarantine. The grocery store is just as full. Walmart,
They're
like
essential.
they're essential. All the small businesses are going out of business. You see close signs.
And that's a tough thing to see. All those businesses that are being.
So, Stephen, what I was asking you is, what have you seen down in Dallas? Is everybody getting back to normal? Are they still on lockdown? How serious are they taking it in Dallas?
It's kind of 50-50, but it's a lot more normal than it has been. It's actually incredible to see Deep Ellum, seeing some of these restaurants, bars opening up. Last night, well, today, but last night at midnight, a lot of bars decided to open up because they're supposed to open up today. So, it's pretty incredible to see, just people getting back out there because we have that right? This is America. I understand being safe and being sanitary, but if I'm gonna die, I don't want to die hiding in a hole waiting for impending death. We're all gonna die. I'm also not gonna rush there and do something stupid and ignorant to get there, but I'm gonna live my life, and I'm not afraid of impending death because it's gonna come one way or another. Just to enjoy your life while you're here.
Well, yeah, and just because even if you do catch it, doesn't mean you're going to die.
Doesn't mean you're gonna die.
You might not even you may not even get sick. Someone had posted the stats by state, and I mean the numbers in Texas of deaths. I mean, one death is a lot. I'm not saying that it's not a terrible thing, but to shut down the whole state, I mean, it didn't even make sense. The numbers I saw. So yeah, it's weird.
Good. It's good to see it opening back up, and it needs to be opened back up.
Yeah,
so we can get back to normal. And like I said, if you're worried,
stay home.
Yep.
If you're worried,
If you're
stay
worried,
home.
stay
If you're worried, wear your mask. If you're worried, I'm going to say this: when I did go to the gym, they made you put on rubber gloves. Rubber gloves. None of the free weights were open. Only the cable machines were open, and you had to wear rubber gloves. And I was like,
what's the difference? You're going to grab a free weight, or you're going to grab a cable. Your hand's still.
Yeah. So there's weird rules going on everywhere. Like, I don't know what. Like, there's no guideline of what each business should absolutely be doing, or each gym should absolutely be doing. Each gym is doing it a little different. Jiu-jitsu schools, those guys are rolling and choking each other. You know, you go to an athletic center, and you're not allowed to use the free weights. I'm like, what the fuck is that? You know, I don't even get it.
Yeah, you got to maintain social distancing and all that shit. But in my opinion, it doesn't really. They will do as much as we accept. So if we don't put our foot down and be like, okay, no, this is too much. This is America, then they're gonna control us as much as they can. But as soon as we start saying, okay, no, we have rights, and as a mass, we get other people together that feel the same way, are willing to fight for their freedom, then we'll get that back. If you just give it up, then you don't even deserve it. You got it. People died for that. People died, like on a battlefield. They died for our freedom. Like, we can't put our foot down and be like, argue for our freedom or get a social distancing ticket for your freedom. Like, you got to be able to fight for your rights, because
I know people.
Somebody died for that, and you should respect what they did.
I know people that have not left their house.
I know people
that have not even literally left their house since this started. Just like grocery store delivery, like maybe walk around there, but I mean, like, seriously, lock themselves in their houses and have not left, man. I'm like, dude, are you crazy?
Like, how are those people feeling right now? How are they feeling? How are
they're gonna feel really stupid when they walk outside?
Well, they might feel stupid. They might feel like
I bet they feel really hatred inside. They feel a lot of negativity because they're not able to have fun, and they're all fucked up in the head because they're just stuck at home going crazy. It's a mental health issue. You got to get out of the house. You have to socialize with people. If you're not doing that, you're losing your mind. You're going to be really negative in my opinion. You're going to be a Karen.
Right. One good thing that has come out of this is the Earth's atmosphere has improved by 17%. The Earth's air quality has improved by 17% since all the lockdown. So
That's amazing.
that's pretty cool. They should do. We're learning a lot about the planet
And how we're screwing it up.
and how we're screwing it up. I mean, there should be like 1 week out of the year where the whole planet locks themselves in just to let the Earth take a breath, because the air quality has went up 17% since all the everybody's in lockdown, the air pollution or whatever it was, whatever I had read.
They
So
do have something for that. It's called Earth Day, but it's only 1 day.
yeah, they should do like Earth Month and everybody stay home and not drive their cars. Save the trees.
On Earth Day, that'd be a good idea. Yeah.
Earth Week, where everybody just stays home and quarantines, and so there'll be some good things that come out of this. New inventions, new businesses. A lot of the old ways of living are gone.
You're not going to go to a birthday party and watch someone try and blow out candles and say, "I'll have a piece of that cake."
Yeah, I ain't eating a fucking cake. And the thing, you know what they're not talking about? How to boost your immune system. None of the news stations are talking about boosting your immune system. What do you do to stay healthy? Going for a walk.
That they say hi.
They're telling you to hide in the new normal and stay at home. They're not telling you to increase your vitamin C, to increase your D vitamins, your D3s. Take your omegas, get some sunlight, get some exercise. You don't hear a lot of that stuff.
That's positive stuff. That's why you don't hear it.
Ron says 500 milligrams of vitamin C every day. I did, Stephen, I did go out and I picked up some Alpha Brain, and I took some Alpha Brain by Onnit, because I've been watching Joe Rogan, his company. So shout out to Alpha Brain, because man, I feel really good. And within 30 minutes taking that nootropic, I felt really alert, and I feel pretty sharp today and probably pretty chatty. So
You're always chatty, man.
I'm chatty Cathy over here. But what time? What's the time?
12:59.
12:59. Looks like we're about to wrap up this show.
All right, guys.
Time to wrap it up.
I gotta give a shout out to
Yeah,
Ben
guys,
Gutton for
static on my
setting me
signal,
up with
so
the
I'm
use
gonna
of
go
his
ahead
mic
and sign
and
off.
camera here. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Shout out to my CBD company, Artistic Organics in Frisco, for supplying with these badass CBD pens.
All right, man. Everybody have a good and safe Memorial weekend.
All right. Happy holidays.
All right, y'all have a
See ya.
good one.